So I'm the chairman and creator of the party. Officially, I'm still the chairman, but I practically stopped working for the party last summer. But before that, I was working for the party about 9 years full time. And so let me tell you about my current projects, just briefly. So recently I published Longevity Dating under longevity.dating. It's an online dating platform for vitalists, longevity enthusiasts, chronicists, and biohackers. And currently I'm working on Cryonics Alarm. It's a web server-based Cryonics Alarm. But my main focus is on building fixed aging AI. It's a startup that uses cutting-edge AI to implement or to develop rejuvenation medicine. So the German Party for Biomedical Rejuvenation Research. It was founded in 2015, and since then we have participated in 24 elections already, 2 European elections, 3 state elections, and 17, let me say it again. So 2 European elections, 3 federal elections, and 17 state elections and 2 repeat elections. And our best election results were 0.5% in 3 of the state elections. We have reached millions of people in our election campaigns. And currently we have about 300 members. And with the party, we built a platform that basically everybody can use to do efficient advocacy for rejuvenation research. So as I said, I'm the creator of the party. My background is in engineering. So in 2003, I received my master's degree in electrical and computer engineering from the University of Massachusetts, Amherst. And in 2012, I wanted to sign up for cryonics. And while I was doing research on cryonics, I came across the Manhattan Beach Project online, the conference on YouTube, because they had a talk about cryonics. But the conference basically was about doing something against aging. And at this conference, I saw for the first time a talk from Orbit Gray about this damage repair approach. And yeah, this was the first time that I realized that, that I realized that scientists actually are working on aging and trying to cure aging within my lifetime. And yeah, so I thought this is the most important thing in the world, and I decided to contribute to this, because the more people help with implementing the repair approach, the better our chances to reach longevity escape velocity in our lifetime. So my first plan was to help in the lab, so scientifically. So I went back to university in 2012 and studied biochemistry. But I learned how small the field was and how little funding there was. So I thought that I could contribute more by doing public outreach and trying to grow the movement. So, and at this time, I joined a lot of Facebook groups about longevity, and one Facebook group was called Longevity Party. And I thought it would be really helpful if we would have a real longevity party. But there didn't exist one, so I created one in Germany. And after I finished my bachelor degree in biochemistry in 2015, I started to work full-time for the Party for Rejuvenation Research. So, as I already said, we have already participated in 24 elections in Germany. And let me tell you what it means to participate in an election, because I think it's very different in German from other countries like the US. So on the slide you can see an example of a ballot paper. So when you participate, even if you're a small party, you are on the ballot paper. And as you can see, it's not too crowded. I mean, in this example, it's an example from a state election. There are 14 parties on this ballot paper, and our party is also right on there. So nowadays, a lot of people vote by mail. And so they fill out the ballot paper at home, so they have time to go over it. And so our party name is self-explanatory, so if they reach Rejuvenation Research and they're interested in it, they can do some research. And a reason why there are so few, so usually it's for state elections about 20 parties on the election paper, on the ballot paper. So sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. And one reason could be that there's a hurdle to get on the ballot paper. So the hurdle is to collect support signatures. So for a state election, you usually need between 1,000 and 2,000 support signatures. And since we don't have so many members, we have to basically approach strangers on the street and ask them for a support signature. That's very time consuming, but it's a very good way to, it gives you a reason to approach like any random stranger on the street and talk to the person about, rejuvenation research. You ask them if they would give a signature, then sometimes they have questions, you talk to them. So that's already very good public outreach, but it's not very efficient. But once you have collected enough support signatures and you are admitted to the election, then the really efficient advocacy starts. So usually as a party that participates in the election, you get free airtime on TV and radio. Usually 90 seconds. In TV it's 2 or 4 airtimes. And in this article that you can see here, it says that just at this one airtime, it was a Saturday evening, 3.14 million people watched our election commercial. So this is just the one airtime, and as we have several of those. And then our election commercial is also shared by others on social media, like people that are not connected to our party, not associated with our party. So here are 2 examples where people shared our election video on X. So the one on the right has about 300,000 views, and the one on the left has about 230,000 views. And then we can also hang up election posters for free prior to the election. Usually 6 to 8 weeks prior to the election. An election poster costs about $4, so the printing costs, but the rest is free. And usually we try to hang them up like in really crowded places where a lot of people see them. So here you see 2 examples where we hang up election posters in shopping streets, like in pedestrian areas. I don't know if you can see it, but there are a lot of people walking by, because it's a shopping street and the posters are very visible. So here are two more examples where we hang up the posters in shopping streets. Here's one more example. And we also hang up posters with a picture of Orbe de Grey, past, you can see here. Here you can see, here we placed a poster right beside of the entrance of a subway station. It's also a shopping street. And here's another photo of a poster in a shopping street. Very, very visible. I think that's really, I mean, a lot of people see them, and also a lot of people take pictures of those election posters and post them on their social media. So here are two examples of those. So again, people who are not associated with our party, so we just hang them up, then random people take pictures, post them on their profiles, and the one on, so those are two posts from X, and the one on the left has, for example, 120,000 views. And you can read our election poster, and yeah. The one on the right has 26,000 views about. And also, the media is interested in parties that participate in the election. So prior to the election, we give like interviews, and media does reports about our party or just mentions our party in other articles. And in this example, the ZDF Heute show, it's a German satirical news, similar to the Daily Show here in the US, did a feature about us, about 1 minute long. And according to this source, just on TV, over 5 million people saw this show. And they also, and on their YouTube channel, about 1.7 million people saw this show. So you reach a lot of people there. And here's another example. So those 3 videos are about small parties that participate in the election. It also includes us. They introduce those parties, and it's from the YouTube channel Mr. Wissen to Go. And each of those videos has over 600,000 views. And yeah, there are many other YouTube videos. And also newspapers report about us prior to the elections. So on the left, there's an example from a big German newspaper. And the title is "The Party That Fights Against Aging." Here are 2 more examples from newspaper articles. Here 2 more. So they oftentimes also, as you can see, take pictures of our election posters for their reports. And then we also participate in online political matching platforms prior to the election. So a lot of people use those. You answer about 40 questions, and then it compares your answers with the answers that the party gives, and it tells you how well the individual parties fit to your answers. And so people share their results, for example, on social media. So on the left side, you see an example from X. And because our name is self-explanatory, so it's here Verjüngungsforschung, it's rejuvenation research. So people that didn't know us before, they also see us on those matching platforms, our name. And if they're interested in Verjüngungsforschung, they can then do research. And on the left, there was a journalist who did this Valomat is one of the matching platforms, and we came up on top, and so he wrote an article about it. And because we get so much attention, our website is visited a lot more prior to the election. And on our website, we inform about the science and about the movement, and we have a lot of links. For example, here we have the Vitalism white paper translated into German on our website. And there are also additional advantages of being a political party compared to, for example, just an association or so. With being a political party, you give people an additional way to support this movement. Normally they can support the movement with money or with their time, with donations or with investing time. But with this party, they can also vote for the party, give a vote. That's free and costs almost no time. You vote anyway. And they can give a support signature, and they can also become a party member. Membership is free. And if a party wouldn't exist, then this support would not be used. And there is also the potential to enter the parliament or to get public funding. So for public funding, you would need, in state elections, you would need 1% of the votes at least. And for getting into parliament, you need, for state elections and federal elections, 5% of the votes at least. And for the European election, until now it was 0.5%, and now they want to change it to 2%. And also, if we get more and more votes, there will probably be an increased chance that the big parties include our issue more into their program. We had some strategy changes during the last 10 years that the party existed. So we started with, our issue was always to promote the repair approach. But our communication changed. So we started with life extension, basically. Then we changed it to health span extension. We tried that for 5 years, for 5 years, and then we switched back to lifespan extension. And we got we got a lot more attention with the lifespan extension approach. So our next election that we want to participate in is the state election in Baden-Württemberg next year in March. We already nominated our candidates. So those are our 5 candidates for the state election. And there are 5 more state elections next year that we could participate in. And basically every year there are several elections. So there's always, if somebody wants to get involved and do advocacy with the party, there's always you can always collect signatures, support signatures for an election or do election campaign. There's always an election. So after the election is before the next election. So with more advocacy, we could grow the movement faster, and we would have an increased chance to reach longevity, escape velocity in our lifetime. So if somebody wants to do advocacy, and if people want to do advocacy and they don't know what to do, they could either create a similar party in their own country, or they could support our party, either by making donations to our party or by coming to Germany and collect support signatures. So you don't have to speak German to collect those signatures. You can also do this in English. For example, Didier Corneille from Belgium, he came to Germany already 3 times and collected support signatures for the German Party for Rejuvenation research. He collected them in English and he was very successful. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.
Testing. Okay, we have time for one quick question, and then we're going to try to get the schedule back on track.
Yes, thank you very much. So, in regard to your interactions with people on the street, the thousands of contacts that you've had, do you have any overall impressions as to the reception that you received during each period of the party's existence and advocacy? What were some of the predominant themes that you encountered in the public response to the petitions?
Yeah. So when we communicated, off now? Can you still hear me? Okay. So when our communication was health ban extension, basically we said it's about preventative medicine against diseases, against age-related diseases. Basically everybody was thought that it's a great idea. It was much easier to collect those signatures. We didn't get hardly any opposition, but also hardly any support. I mean, people just didn't, they thought it's a great idea, but they didn't support it much. I mean, a lot of them signed, getting those signatures was easy, but yeah, they probably also misunderstood it a little bit. So they probably thought it's like the kind of research that is done today against Alzheimer and cancer. Just, I mean, everybody is different, so maybe, everybody basically, but it was, I think, not very clear what we actually wanted. And after the change, we communicated that aging is a problem and that people might live for thousands of years if we can rejuvenate them periodically. And we got a lot of opposition, and it was really hard to collect those signatures. But for me, I felt better collecting those signatures because I could really talk to the people about the subject that I care about and not about, about something and not being misunderstood by the people, basically. So I think it's really important to let the people know what this is about, because otherwise we will not get the support. I mean, research against Alzheimer and cancer is already being done, and people, it's not that important for the people from my experience to live like a couple of years longer. They wouldn't put that much money into it. But if you communicate that it's about living for thousands of years, because a lot of people think, you just need to live healthy and then you can also avoid those diseases. A lot of people think this way. But you can't like live for thousands of years by living healthy. So I think it's really important to get this across, what it's really about.
All right, let's give it up for Felix, everyone. Thank you very much.